Hello and welcome to my world. I'm of course Fred Kasdan. As you know, 7 nights a week I stream live over on Twitch, playing a variety of video games. Now, at the time of this recording, it's March 27th, 2020. Obviously, the video gets posted onto YouTube on March 28th. And so we are right in the early week of self-quarantine, stay-at-home orders of as it relates to the coronavirus here in New Jersey. And I know a lot of folks are not coping with it well, as it's quite an adjustment for a lot of people out there, particularly those who are career driven or have or that they're really used to going out to the office or being out and about and so forth. And I can imagine if you have families, significant others, relationships are, to the most points, are probably being tested because you're now around your spouse for 24 hours a day for the most part. You are around your kids for a long stretch of time. You're having to balance educating your kids now with doing the homeschool thing, making sure they're doing their things. And if you're working from home, you're having balance all that out at the same time. So it's definitely a period of adjustment. I myself don't have many of those concerns, and being a self-described hermit, for lack of a better term, I'm take this as a nice reprieve. I'm prefer to be at home. I am not someone who likes being around a lot of people outright, unless I'm choosing to. Like if I'm going to like a comic book convention or work. But even then, given a choice between going to work where there's a lot of people, where there's a lot of idiots that don't know how to use their brains, which is located 3 feet above their asses, if I can avoid it, I would. And so this has been a nice change of pace to what I actually prefer. Because when you think about it, with a lot of technology, the ability to work from home should actually be encouraged. Keep more people off the roads. Folks can work remotely. Everything can be monitored and recorded if you have the right software or anything that's work related. So it all works out nicely. And the trick is making sure that there's enough work for everybody to keep everyone getting those nice paychecks every 2 weeks. But be that as it may. So I'm coping with things quite fine, but if you are not coping with it as well as others, I fully understand that regard. Now, switching off of the serious stuff, let's talk about Nancy Drew once again. A couple weeks ago, I streamed Nancy Drew's Secrets Can Kill and talked about it that same week. Last Friday night, we returned to Nancy Drew with Nancy Drew Dossier Lights, Camera, Curses, which, right off the bat, let me tell you, it is a much better game than Secrets Can Kill. For one fact, it actually is fun. Lights, Camera, Curses is a fun game. It's a point and click game. You are finding items in whatever room location you're in. You're combining those items. You are figuring out puzzles, and there is no backtracking to try and remember every little minute detail, because things just fall into place perfectly. I take that back. You do have to remember various things for some conversation moments when we're speaking with witnesses and suspects that are part of the mystery at large here. But as opposed to Secrets Can Kill, where you had to remember where everyone was, have to remember how to navigate, get from point A to point B, and having puzzles that were more complicated than they have to be. That periodic table thing, I never would have figured out if I came across it. If I happen to come across it without having to use a guide, but a guide is definitely not needed with Lights, Camera, Curses. Now, the basic plot is that Nancy is hired to come out to a film set. The movie is being remade on the same location of where the original version of the film was. However, the set and everything associated with it is being plagued by a series of mysterious accidents. And it's up to Nancy to figure out the cause of the accidents and as the get the culprit and all that. But at the same time, another plot development plot is revealed that there was a mysterious murder during the film or death during the during the filming of the original movie that's depicted in the game, and a very rather impressive jewel was stolen as well during the filming, and there's like rumors and Hollywood legends and all sorts of things that take that makes one wonder what's the real truth, what's the real mystery that we are trying to figure out during the course of the game. The biggest strength of Lights Camera Curses is of course the fact that it the gameplay is totally based around uh, a hidden object finding, basic puzzles that actually make sense, mini games that get progressively harder, and you actually have a reward for how well you play. This game has two distinct endings. Both endings are quote unquote good as the mystery is solved, but one ending is better than the other. On my initial playthrough of Lights Camera Curses, I came close to getting the good ending, but some late game elements called time puzzles involving crows and candles certainly tossed me through a loop of trying to figure certain things out, and if you can get through things without making too many mistakes or be able to go from puzzle to puzzle, you get a higher score. There's a scoring system, and there are some mini games that help boost your score. It's definitely this this game has a nice variety of elements that keep it from getting boring or too frustrating. Um, Presentation wise, basic animation, the backgrounds and sets all look good. Voice acting is pretty solid for what this is. Will consider this to be a budget title by any stretch of the imagination, and and it's very linear. Again, there is no indirect backtracking, and the key thing is that you do have to remember is things that are said, items that you come across, and which helps you with conversating with people. Granted, you can make as many wrong choices as possible, but the more accurate you are, the more in terms of selecting the right things first, the better your scores be towards end game progression. So I highly recommend Lights Camera Curses a lot more than Secrets Can Kill, without question. So trying to think of, was there anything else about Lights Camera Curses that stands out to me? Off the top of my head, no, there isn't. But of course, there will be at least a moment from the stream included in actually it was already there because we already did it. Was part of last week, so that highlight reel was already posted, and of course the entire stream is already here on YouTube. So if you want to see how I got through it and where things were going so good and then things got derailed toward the end of the game when things got a little bit hard for me. So with that said, we'll wrap up this week's vlog and review and commentary here. Be sure to come over on Twitch, hit the subscribe button here on YouTube. Not that anyone that comes across this or whatnot, but if you did, hit that subscribe button, and we'll talk to you next week with whatever I decide to come up with to talk about. The next time, have a good one.